I'd like to call this meeting to order of the Madison Select Board on Monday, January 13th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. Please join me in saluting the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let the record show all selectmen are present. Consent agenda. AP warrant number 1210, 2024, number 181223, 2024, and number 191223, 2024. Payroll register number 49. We had a direct deposit that was rejected, which is going to be added to week 50. So 12/7/2024. Number was number 49. Number 50, 12/12/2024. Number 51. 12/19/2024, number 52, 12/26/2024. And we have 1 and 2 in payroll, which will come at another time once Bangor Savings has straightened it out.
Yes, they're confused about all the deductions for the family medical leave, paid medical leave.
Okay.
They're working it out.
Looking for a motion to approve payroll registers and warrants.
I'll make a motion. Go ahead. I'll make a motion to approve the AP and payroll registers as.
Right. We have a motion and a second to approve the warrants and payroll register as read. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. We have on the consent agenda a VFW liquor license, which we have already signed, so we need to approve it. And I'm going to ask the town manager if she could send out to the VFW and the Legion and anybody else we have licenses with to give them our meeting schedule so they aren't coming in a crisis.
Okay.
All right, looking for a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the VFW liquor license.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the VFW liquor license. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. Acceptance of the meeting minutes of the Select Board meeting on December 9th, 2024.
Move to accept the minutes of the meeting of December 9th, 2024.
These are the,
The amended.
Yes, the amendment again.
The amendment version.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to accept the amended version of the minutes. We had a person on Zoom, and we did not get their comments into the minutes, so we have those have been updated, and we have got them there now. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. Acceptance of the meeting minutes of the special select board meeting on Monday, on December 19th, 2024.
Make a motion to accept the select board special meeting minutes from Monday, December 19th, 2024.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to accept the special select board meeting minutes for December 19th, 2024. All those in favor? 4 in favor, and I will abstain. I was not there, I believe. All right, old business. We'll skip over the meter land request. It has been tabled. We'll move on to number 2. Review purchase order requirements for all departments. Mr. Town Manager?
the department heads have given back varying information. I think the highway department has requested that it be brought up to 5,000. Fire department is satisfied with 2,500. Library is satisfied with 1,000. And I think the rec department said that he was satisfied with 2,500 also. So I would make it 2,500 across the board to see how it goes. And, but, you know, the road commissioner is here and he can add to
I think, okay, but I think we can do it, so anything under 5,000, correct? So if those people want to stay with that, they can stay with it, they can stay with their $2,500 limit if they want to.
Well, I think if you're creating a policy, it has to be consistent and consistently applied. So that's why I say if it's gonna be 5,000, it's gonna be 5,000 for everybody.
Yes, but
Right,
under
right, just
5,000 or under.
Under 5,000 is what Al was saying, and it would be
Right.
for everybody.
Okay.
Even though if they only wanted to make the 2,500 themselves, because that's what they want,
Okay.
then that could be.
And there's only so much in the lines that are for
Some-
purchases that some probably don't have 5,000.
Right.
So it isn't gonna affect them at all, but I don't wanna hamper people from getting their job done. They're not gonna outspend, I do not believe we're gonna allow them to outspend their budget, so that is,
Well, that's kind of written right there,
yeah.
right? And I don't,
Mr. Road Commissioner.
Yeah, so I'm all in favor of going back to the $5,000 the way it used to be. It was just so much simpler, and I agree with keeping it across the board for everybody, and you're exactly right, Al. You know, a lot of those lines don't even have a couple $1,000s in them. I just assume keep it, or go up to 5,000 like it used to be. And speaking with Donnie, the fire chief this afternoon, he had suggested that whatever I had said, he'd agree with it, only because he wasn't gonna be able to attend tonight. So, I'd like to see it go back to $5,000. And you guys have gotten my email, I take it, explaining why, and those are the reasons why.
All right, so we get a motion?
I'll make a motion for the, purchase orders to be $5,000 or
Under
I
5,000?
mean, $5,000
Or
or under.
up to $5,000.
Not to
exceed.
Not to exceed, okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mooney. All right, we have a motion, we have a second.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second to increase the purchase order
Requirement.
requirement to not to exceed $5,000. Any questions?
Yes, I need to reword that. The purchase order requirement would be for any purchases over 5,000.
About 5,000.
Above that, okay. Okay,
All right, any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, we are going to initial report of the building committee. Their next meeting is Thursday, January 16th.
yes. The building committee had an opportunity to visit all of the properties, and
Recording in progress.
okay. And the primary building that they are the most concerned with, in addition to the library ramp for ADA purposes and safety issues and the fact that it's crumbling, is the town office and the fire station. So it's probably the oldest building other than Old Point Avenue. And it is, we've reached our limitation in terms of space allocation, and in the event that we wanted to expand the office or the fire station, there would be space in the property to the left of, as you're looking at it, to the right of the fire station, that we could expand out towards where there's more parking space right now. So the building committee is going to meet again on Thursday to talk about developing a plan as to what exactly is going to be coming online, you know, setting up like a 5 to 10 year plan that, you know, none of this is going to happen overnight. We're going to have to save money. We're going to have to talk about bonding. We're going to have to find the resources to do it, come up with, you know, what the essential needs are and how we can best address those. So the preliminary report is we've taken what has been done by Plymouth Engineering and we're trying to assign priorities to it. Sean has taken on the responsibility of chair reluctantly, but he has taken it on. And Sally is also on the committee, as well as Robin, Jonathan Burrows, Jeff, Donnie, Mary Tomlinson, Robin Turk. Who am I missing? Anyway, Randy, yes, Randy. So I think we've got a broad spectrum of people involved in helping to determine what the needs are and where the priorities are. So at the January 27th meeting, we may have a better report, you know, but I think it's going to be a few months before we have, as a building committee, before we have a strong plan in place to present to the board.
So as far as the library goes, are we gonna consider that for our budget for 25, 26? Is that, are there grants?
The library ramp right now, there was a grant opportunity that came across my desk. I passed it off to Cheyenne and Julie to look at, and we're gonna talk about it Thursday night. And that is to help ease with creating ADA requirement, meeting ADA requirements. So that would include updating the ramp and getting that, you know, through. And that can be up to $25,000. So I think as far as the library ramp goes, if we get that grant and we can apply that, then the amount of money that we're gonna need to budget for the ramp is gonna be much less than what Plymouth Engineering originally thought.
Is there a specific person that's done that in the past, or is it just a mason? Is it a specific company that builds those, or maybe we might wanna contact and get us some idea of how much that's gonna be. We need to rip it out and replace it.
Right.
Doesn't look like we can patch it.
Yeah, they said an estimated $30,000 to replace that ramp.
Oh, that Plymouth Engineering?
Yeah.
Said that night?
That was the complete ramp. We've only got, a lot of it sitting on the ground, maybe the last 15 feet there one. We gotta do some work on drainage in that area.
And possible handicap parking.
Right, because we're gonna move on to budget season fairly quickly, so we need to have some idea if that's gonna be one, and then obviously the rest of it's gonna be something that, you know, is over a period of time, or we're gonna borrow some money. That's the only other way to do it. You're not gonna put everything we need to do there in next year's budget. That isn't gonna go very well. The other, I mean, in the past, that area if we're facing it to the right, was designed for that, for some sort of expansion of that. I mean, people who've been here forever can correct me if I'm wrong, but we had a house that sat there that was our police station at one time, and that was torn down. And the idea was that the fire department would go to the right, one bay or two bays or whatever, but it just never has caught the fancy, I guess, of the residents, taxpayers. So, I mean, if we can come up with a plan that might work, these fire trucks that we're buying aren't getting any smaller, and we're just a slight of a turn of a wheel of taking out one of those columns, and then we're gonna be in a whole bunch of hot water. Maybe we can go that way, no? But, you know, so I mean, we're pretty close. I mean, trucks are huge, which they need to be, and we just need to make sure we can house these things.
Right.
And they need some room to do what they need to do as firemen.
Right. So that would include a meeting room, a training room, you know, showers, laundry, and all that
Right.
stuff.
Because we have washers and dryers and things like that we have available for them, so we need to have some space for that.
Yes.
And I know they're quite cramped. All right, anything else on the building committee?
I believe Jonathan Burrows and Keith from Plymouth Engineering are looking into those contractors that do the cement ramp, whether it should be a cement ramp, whether it should be a wooden ramp, or whatever, or a metal grate. So they are looking into that, and I hope that they're gonna have some pricing for Thursday night.
Because of where it is, we're pretty much stuck to what's there.
Right. We can't really do much in terms of turning the ramp and repositioning it. There's also the natural gas pipeline that goes underneath, so that connects from the street to the library for their heating system. So,
Sounds good. Anything else? Any other members of the committee want to chime in? I'm glad to see we have Mr. Bean in training for chairman. Number 4, fill vacancy on the Budget Advisory Board. Do we have a nomination?
I have a nomination. I have David Bernard of Myrtle Street has come forward and said that he would be interested in serving on the Budget Advisory Board.
I'm assuming that's Dave.
Down in the back row.
All right. Now we put a name with a face. I got it now. Do we get a motion to fill that position that's vacant with David Bernard?
I'll make a motion to fill the vacant position of Budget Advisory Board with David Bernard. I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to fill the advisory board position with David Bernard. Any questions, comments? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. All right, number 5.
Do you accept?
Yes, I got it. That's kind of important.
You know that's a lifetime position, right?
Maybe we should rethink this.
Okay.
Too late.
Number 5, consideration of a 4-day work week for town office.
So, I've had discussion with all the staff members, and I think I mentioned it to you, Mr. Chair, that my concern was I didn't want to reduce the amount of time that the town office was open to the residents and restrict the services that we offer. So we've come up with a way to do 4 10-hour days for the staff and still stay open 5 days a week. And it's a matter of going from 7:30 to 4 to being 7 to 5. And employees would work 4 10-hour days, and but there would be overlap. So like one person would take Monday off, somebody else would take Wednesday off, somebody else would take Friday off. So that the services would still be provided. The staff would have an extra day off in the week to get their own personal things done. There would not be a significant impact in the budget whether we close early or we stay open late. There's not enough of a time, of an overhead expense to really impact the budget. The consensus for the staff that worked the counter was they didn't want to be closed on Friday because that's when a lot of the out-of-town people come in to register votes, register snowmobiles, and they're here for the weekend or whatever else, you know. So, or they work somewhere else and they live in Madison, but they're only here on the weekends. And so it would mean our part-time person would go from having 16 hours a week to having 20 hours a week. So that's a slight increase there. It would not impact any benefits for the part-timer because they're not at the full-time rate of more than 32 hours a week. So, I mean, if that's what the town staff is interested in. I haven't polled the town residents, I haven't, talked to any of the citizens or anything like that about presenting this kind of a change. But we would be open half an hour earlier and an hour later than what we are right now on a regular basis.
All right, I guess, do you have it written out for us? Is that something you can get us? I mean, we don't have to vote on it tonight, we'll talk about it again. I brought this to the town manager because we're seeing it in the newspaper a number of times. I believe Waterville, Farmington,
Jay, Winslow.
all of those are doing something along this line. So, I think if you get that written up, and I guess I'd like to see who, we're gonna have at least 2 people in the office at all times, correct?
Absolutely,
We can't have less than that.
right.
So if you could get that written up, I mean, is that something the board wants to continue with? I mean, and I do understand we're gonna increase some hours, but it's not gonna be until, we probably wouldn't do this until
July
July,
1st,
I would
right.
say.
So, Mayor,
Yep.
so are you talking about closing another day of the week, or are we gonna do Monday through Friday?
Monday through Friday. We would not be closed an extra day during the week. And the reason for that is, if we were gonna close, one day a week and be just open 4 days a week, the options are, you close on Monday, right? Well, half of the holidays fall on a Monday. So then you're gonna be closed on Tuesday as well to represent, to give the staff time off for the holiday. And that really can be cumbersome. The alternative is to close on Friday. Well, Friday is one of the busiest days of the week at the counter, so that's not a good option. So then you go to do you wanna close Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday? And that doesn't make a lot of sense either. So this way, if we're open 5 days a week and the staff only works 4 days, not all staff is gonna have the same day off.
Were they good with that?
Yes, yeah. I think, Jeff, do you want to speak to your concerns? I mean, you don't work the front counter, but you have interaction with the public.
Right. My public is there 5 days a week, so it's my public isn't always there in the town office, it's out in the public. So it's, and like Denny said, I don't work the counter, so that part doesn't affect me. Except when they're trying to pay for permits, that kind of thing.
So if Jeff stayed with 5 8-hour days, I mean, and if we had the ability to offer that flexibility, then I think that we could make things like that work, where Jeff and maybe even Cheyenne, who needs to have a more stable, a more regulated time frame because of her childcare situation, if we can offer some of that flexibility, we may be in a better position.
And the same with Heidi, payroll's on Monday, so it's.
Payroll, yeah, Heidi can't take a Monday or Tuesday off with payroll and warrants.
I like the hours from 7 to 5. Some of us at work, it's time for us to get there by 4.
Okay. Mr. Moody? Mr. Moody, no? This
I'd
one-
like to see, I gotta see something scheduled
Yeah, I'd like to see that
to
too.
look at and.
Who's working and
Who's
That's right.
working
what it
and
looks like.
all
Well,
that kind of
we
stuff.
don't need to do it right now. You
No,
can,
I'll pass this around to you guys, just so you can see the initial visual.
you can write it up, then we'll bring it back to another meeting,
Okay,
probably in February.
Yep.
Give you a little time.
yeah, February should be plenty of time
27th is what
to
it
work
was.
it out.
But, I mean, the board is willing to consider something like this, correct? Yes,
Isn't that what the Lightworks do now
I don't
in
know.
their office, I believe? I believe they alternate, like Denise had said.
Take a day off?
Yeah, one of the girl that works Friday has Monday off and vice versa.
Okay.
So they're open 5 days a week.
I may want to contact them, find out what they do with that.
Robert, it's between Robert and Carmen.
Right.
Can this schedule be worked out so that any day of the week, people can come in and register?
Absolutely. That's the point. Yep.
That's a
So Monday through Friday, 7 to 5.
Do you have that many people that are certified to do that?
Yes. So we have 3 people. We've got 2 full-time on the counter and 1 part-timer on the counter. And with the 3 of them, they could work it so that, like, say for instance, Deb would take Monday off and Julie would take Wednesday off. Angela would cover those 2 days. And then Deb and Julie would both be there Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday.
But that's not the day that they really committed to in reality. You're just using that as an assumption, right? Because Deb would not want to take Monday off when Shirley's there.
Well, if you look at the list that I'm passing around, that's the day that they picked to take off. I know, I was surprised too, but anyway.
And Cheyenne has also been helping out on the counter.
Cheyenne is getting trained on those transactions so that she can be in that role as well. But yes, that is just an example. It's a totally sample schedule. None of the details have been worked out. We wanted to make sure that the board was okay with that kind of a flexible schedule, before putting a lot of work effort into creating the details.
Okay, so I think if we have some more detail on the first meeting in February, I think we can talk a little bit more about it. Thank you. All right, items of communication, department heads, the road commissioner is in.
I don't have really a whole lot to report other than just our normal routine in the wintertime, plowing and sanding. We had getting a lot of work done in the shop last week because of the storm-free week. But salt and calcium are about on budget, maybe a little high on salt because these 1-inch storms take twice as much to clean up as the big storms, and they fall on a holiday or a weekend usually. Got a truck back from Bangor that's been over there for 4 weeks, finally, last Wednesday. Brand new truck that been having problems with. Other than that, that's it.
All right, well, you guys are doing a very good job.
Jeff, do
Keep
you
it up.
have anybody now available that does much of the mechanic work?
Yes, there was a gentleman that got hired to replace Billy Pierce when he retired. He's coming, he's doing a very good job, and plus we were fortunate enough that he has a CDL license, so he is also a plow truck driver also.
Good, okay.
All right, I do see the sheriff's department here. Mr. Pike, would you like to address us?
I think you all have a copy of Sheriff Lancaster's report.
Yes, yeah, we have
I'd be
that.
happy to answer any questions you might have about it. Otherwise, I'm just here to be here, be
And
part of it.
Deputy Pike has started as our SRO at the school, so that's been awesome so far. So he has slowed the traffic down in front of the school, so he's done a nice job with that. All right, any questions for him? Anything on the sheriff's report? All right, we have the other reports. If you have any questions, you can ask. All right, moving on, we have the living.
Wait, can you just wait a second? I just
Yeah.
wanted to ask
I'm
Jeff a
sorry.
quick question.
All right.
So, I just have a question. When you guys plow on Weston Avenue, you go down over the hill and you plow right down to the end, am I correct?
Yes, we do, and we go around the loop, down by Jess Folks' place, and up by the old farm, and around and out again.
I only asked that because there was a complaint that it wasn't plowed out for one storm, and I don't know, I have no idea, but when I went down, a few days later, it was plowed out. So I was just asking about it.
Yes, that was one of the new drivers that plows that into town, and that had gotten overlooked, but it did get taken care of.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I'm
No,
good.
you're good, okay, we got living well report, and then we have the town manager report on budgets. That's in your folder, any questions on those? All right, moving forward, new business. Mr. Doty is here, talk about some rules on launching hand-carried watercraft at the Lakewood Beach area.
Okay, if I come forward?
Yes, sir.
This is a picture of what Lakewood Beach entrance looks like on the beach road. This is the town property is between the signs. I know, it's
huge.
elaborate.
Oh, yeah, been there many times.
But it's quite a nice piece of property, even though it is kind of skinny. So you have the rules, I think,
Yep,
and you've got the picture of the beach. And there's the kiosk that you put that up a couple years ago. 22.
yes, we have both of those.
Okay, so we're really not asking for much of a change, because right now it's customary to hand launch kayaks, canoes, paddle boards, that kind of thing there, as well as the swimming, the fishing, and docking your boat. What we are asking for is just to put in policy that it's acceptable or specifically allowed to hand launch boats there.
You wanna add that to this sign?
Don't necessarily need to add it to the sign. Town manager suggested that we just put it in the policy, that hand launch of watercraft is
I don't have a
allowed.
problem with that if you want to.
I'll draft a, I'll draft
Get
a
that
call.
written up, we can do it at the next meeting.
Yep.
Anybody have any concerns about that? And people are doing it at this
Right,
point,
doing
right?
it now.
They're doing it now.
As
Is that
Tim
just so
Curtis
that
said,
people-
he's launched his boat there a dozen times.
Yeah. So are people giving them a hard time?
No, we're doing this because of the Black Point purchase.
What's that?
So it's the purchase of a 130-acre parcel just north of, about a third of a mile north of the boat launch.
Okay.
The Somerset Woods trustees is purchasing that parcel, and Lake West Rensselaer Association is partnering with them to raise the money.
Okay. All right.
And you'll get something in the email this weekend
Okay.
about this, and it was in the Waterville Sentinel back
Yes,
on
I think I
December
saw it,
13th.
now that you mentioned it, I think I've seen that.
Do you think the likelihood of more people launching their boats, their hand, you want more people to launch there, basically, so they have access to that piece of property?
We want it specifically available for that.
Right.
I don't, myself, I don't expect a whole lot more activity there of hand launching of boats. I really don't expect that.
Yeah.
We're not overly interested in advertising it. We look at it more as a locals boat launch,
Okay. All right.
But non-motorized.
non-motorized.
The only question I have, will this cause a parking problem with people like bringing their, and, you know, off the top of their truck or what have you, and parking the truck for the day and going out there? Is it gonna build up the parking area?
I don't expect it to, because I don't really think that there's gonna be a whole lot more traffic as far as that goes. Right now, there's kind of a worn spot to the right-hand side of the road as you're coming toward the beach, where people park to use the beach.
Yeah, we have fixed that up in the past, you know, hauled some gravel in there to make it so it's more accessible to the property line. In the years past, the gravel gets worn off and
I was just thinking about if there's a possibility of the parked vehicles building up there. If people go out there to swim, they park their vehicles, then you got people bringing their boats out, and they're gonna be parking vehicles. I'm just wondering if that's gonna create a problem.
If it does, there's really kind of overflow parking that goes from the beach road over to the theater road. And I think people know to pull in there if it becomes a problem.
Okay? If it is, then we'll have to address it, won't we?
That's one of those things.
it's really not a whole lot different than it is this time of year with all the ice fishermen. I mean, I've seen upwards of 20 cars plus out there, you know, on the weekend, you know, people
With their
fishing.
trailers.
Pardon?
With their trailers. and
Exactly,
stuff, too.
yeah.
All right, so we'll get that written up and we'll take it up on the 27th.
Yep.
That sound reasonable?
Sounds great.
All right,
See you then.
thank you very much.
I'll help you if you want.
Okay, thanks, Mark.
Number 2. Update to Madison, Town of Madison personnel policy.
So I don't have any specific updates yet, but what I want to do is I want to review it. It's been 2 years since it was last reviewed. I've had opportunity to speak with the staff, and we would like to revert back from, especially if we're going to move forward with 10-hour days, revert back to overtime over after 40 hours in the week as opposed to overtime after 8 hours in the day. So there are a lot of times that the cashiers have to stay an extra 15 minutes after we close the window so that they can cash up and prepare their reports. And I think if we can, you know, that's just one place that I want to start in reworking the personnel policy.
Yeah, it hasn't been touched in 2 years, so.
So,
And remember, this is just our town office staff and
it's
anybody but the union, right?
anybody but the union,
Okay,
right.
all right.
So I will, with your permission, I'll go ahead and start reviewing sections and
You
bring
Want the
sections.
selectmen to work with you on it, or?
At some point, yes, but I think to start with, I just want to go through a section at a time,
Okay.
and then we can go from there, and maybe by July 1, we can have everything reviewed.
That's an aggressive schedule.
Yes,
All right, policing RFP draft.
okay, so.
And this is very, 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 very preliminary.
Yes, it's a very rough draft, and it's only just to kind of give you a sense of what we want to look for. I think the timing of an RFP and then an execution of a contract is, if we can get the RFP done in time for the budget season and make sure that we have time to allow people to respond and whatnot, then it's great. Otherwise, I think what we might have to do is to wait until after July 1st into the new fiscal year, to make sure that we have adequate time to prepare for any kind of possible transition if we end up switching contractors. Because I think if we do an RFP now and we go through the process and we approve it in the budget, I think it's gonna take more than 6 months to just even do a transition of services. So, on the realistic side of the calendar.
Mr. Moody?
Yes, I'm a little confused here. Where do we think we're gonna get all of these RFPs from?
Well, right now, I think there is only 2 players in the game that would even consider responding right now.
And my second question would be, are we that dissatisfied with what we have right now? And where do you think, or where do we think we're gonna get more than what we've got? I just don't understand this.
I wish I could answer the question, I can't, I don't know.
I'm just concerned, there seems to be, there has to be some disconcern to make a change. Anytime somebody wants a change, somebody isn't happy with something,
Right.
right?
Yep.
And the way the workforce in that area is out there now, there isn't any. I mean, there's just only so many, you've only got state, county, and town agencies that are available. I mean, I guess you could eliminate town. I don't know. I think, to me, it's a waste of time.
Well, if the board chooses not to pursue this avenue, then I will follow whatever the board decides.
I don't see where we're going to gain anything more than what we've got here. And what direction should we go in to make a change? Where do you start?
Well, you may recall at a couple months ago, one of the select board meetings that Mr. Chris Roy brought up, if you do RFPs for other services, why aren't you doing it for the police service? So I think that's where the idea came from.
So we're gauging this on one person's opinion?
No, it was he made a suggestion that was then routed to me to look into.
Okay.
That's why I say, if it's the wish of the board to pursue an RFP for policing services, I will follow that lead. If the board.
Right now, we're lucky to have what we've got. I mean, you take the town of Mexico, they don't even have a police department anymore because there's nobody available to do the job. we ought to be thankful that we have somebody to do the job. Can't depend on the state police any longer. They've changed their policies. They are not any longer doing any rural patrol. So you have one entity, and that's the county doing it all, picking it all up. So to me, it's a waste of time. They do whatever, but
How's the rest of the board feeling? Because we have consensus that we want to move forward with this. I mean, I'm perfectly happy with Somerset County, but I was, and we did meet with the town of Skowhegan, police chief.
We did?
Well, a couple of us did, yep, and
I
the
was
town
gonna
manager.
say, I didn't hear nothing about that.
And we did talk with them, and I was encouraged by it, but I mean, I'm not dissatisfied with Somerset County. But I mean, I do, if the board wants to just continue talking about this, we don't have to move forward with it.
I'd just like to say that in the winter months, I spend a lot of time on the roads, all hours of the day and night. And I do have to say that the sheriff's department is doing an excellent job. Those people are out there almost all the time. Somebody is always out there. And I get calls on occasion from the comm center to go look at something, and those guys I think they do a fabulous job. And I know some things have been a little rough the last couple of years with them, but I have noticed a big change since I've been back as far as their patrolling and their calls. And I listen to their calls all the time on the radio. So I just want to say that. I personally think that they're doing an excellent job.
And I don't disagree with Jeff. I don't know, anybody else wanna?
I don't know, I just thought we owed it to the town because they kept asking at town meeting, and they were told at a town meeting that, we couldn't do anything then because it was either yes, we voted up or down, there was no options, and I just felt like we owed it to the town, to the residents. If they choose not to pursue it and they don't want it to be, then they don't want it to be, and that's fine, but, my personal opinion is to just see what's out there, see what we get. Might not be anything, and it might be something, who knows? But I just felt like we owed it to the residents of Madison, the ones that came to town meeting year after year and kept wanting something different, and nothing different was ever done.
When you met with Skowhegan, how did you feel about that meeting?
I thought it was a good meeting. I mean, I thought it was a good meeting, and they said the things that I was listening. I mean, they didn't say a whole lot different than the sheriff's department, but they were interested. And the town manager of Skowhegan was there, and we talked about it. And I talked to a couple of members of the board there, and they are on board with it. So, I mean, I'm just a little concerned with if we go out and do this and we lose the sheriff's department and Skowhegan decides not to do it, then we're in a world of hurt. So, we're not gonna lose the sheriff's department altogether. We're gonna lose the service that we have that we're paying extra for. We could lose that. So that makes me a little bit nervous, but I'll do whatever the board wants to do. I mean,
I agree, I think there's a certain element of our town that thinks we can go back to having our own police department too. And I don't think that's physically possible. I know I've had that discussion with people, and it's just, that's not happening. The money's too great for that. I'm out and about a lot at night, I see the sheriff's department around, see them sitting places, so, they've been much more visible, I think, lately, so. But if we wanna give the townspeople option, then maybe this is the way to go.
Well, I also think that all the departments, all the law enforcement had, over the last 3 or 4 years, have had a big struggle trying to keep their fully staffed, and they haven't been fully staffed. And I think what's happened now is that it's finally starting to come back to a certain level, and they're better staffed than before.
So do we wanna just kill this right here? I mean, this takes work by the town manager, so if we're not gonna be for this, then before looking into this, then let's just stop it here. Tell me.
I've told you my opinion, Mr. Chairman, it's a waste of time.
Bean, what do you think?
To vote or not? Do you wanna go to that route or?
We wanna vote on it and see what people think? Or can we come to some consensus?
Anybody out there have anything, any idea or any concerns with regard to what we're talking about?
Yes, sir.
I just have a question. We have a contract with the sheriff department right now,
Yes.
and is that like 1-year contract?
1 year at a time, yes.
So do you think they would be interested in signing a contract, say a 3-year rather than 1 year? That might put people at ease. You're saying that, you know, something could happen, we could lose the sheriff's department, and then we'd end up with nobody.
Right.
So, I don't know, it's just a thought.
Yeah, we could check on that. I don't know why we haven't had a longer term deal. And I do think Sal, Mrs. Dwyer is correct. I mean, that they have not been to full staff, and I believe, Mike, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they're getting close to that right now. I mean, I think that's why the sheriff went into the SRO.
We actually just had three new deputies graduate from the police academy at the end of last month. And I can say, just speaking for my position, I am assigned solely to Madison. So I'm in the school Monday through Friday, whenever school is in session. But days that school is not in session, I'm assigned to Madison. I'm the Madison deputy. There will be somebody else assigned as well. But I don't work outside of the town of Madison for any reason. That was one of the things the sheriff felt strongly about when he assigned me to this position, that this position be assigned solely to Madison. Even when school is not in session, I'll be working with them.
I think that's one of the things people talked about having that person assigned just to Madison. So if we've done that, I mean, we've improved it right there. But we want to take a vote. Who, I don't know how to word it. Do we want to move forward with the RFP for police services? All those in favor?
You need a motion and a second.
We need a motion and a second, I'm sorry. Getting carried away here. Motion and a second to continue with the RFP.
Make a motion to continue the RFP.
Second? Second? Black goes second. We will not continue. All right, citizens' concerns.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to speak on behalf of the American Legion Hall
Yes.
to see if maybe we can get some clarification on the information that's been passed on to us.
Yes.
And this concerns the transfer of property.
Yep.
Okay, what has been brought up at our meetings, one of the concerns is if the transfer of property goes through, that the American Legion is going to be responsible for having test holes dug on the existing property in the parking lot areas at an exuberant cost to find out if there's any contaminated materials that are in that ground. And if it is found through the test hole digging, that the American Legion, if they move forward with their building, is going to be responsible for having that all eradicated. And what I'm looking for on this first part of the question, is that true?
I don't know, there's nothing there, right? There's nothing, I mean, that's been, nothing has ever been, to my knowledge, been dumped there.
It's what we've been told, it's been a dumping site way back when it was Great Northern Paper and Kennebec River Pulp and Paper in Madison, and before Madison Paper took over.
There is no record of that. I don't know, Ron, You're to my senior here on, Mr. Moody. You can, I mean, there is no record, nothing written anywhere about that.
When
Nothing.
you talk about Madison, the Kennebec Pulp and Paper, you're going back 40s and 50s.
Yeah, but we remember that.
But there were, there were houses there, right? There were houses in that area at one point. And they didn't build on stuff that's contaminated.
Okay. So I guess what I'm looking for from the board, is it true that if we go through with the land transfer, that we're responsible for having test holes done before we can move on building on that site?
Well, what are the building? What are the building?
I know nothing of the.
I would say you have to make out your application, right? What are our building codes that are gonna, yeah,
Now, who's requesting this testing?
The information, and I'm sure, sorry he's not here tonight, but our commander, Rob Washburn, is the one that reported his statement, and Jeff and Denise are both here. He's saying that it comes from the town office, that the test holes are required before we can move forward with any of the land transfer.
Why I don't understand why this is any different than any other piece of land.
no, but somebody, Linwood, is causing trouble. And there is nothing there, that we are requiring nothing more than what's in the building codes that you have to follow. We're asking you to go dig holes and,
The only, excuse me, man. Jeff, is there any state statute saying that this has to be done before they could
no.
build or anything? Somebody's blowing smoke somewhere.
Yeah, and somebody's blowing smoke, and I've heard this over and over again, and I'm really kind of tired of hearing it.
Okay.
Not you, but I'm tired of hearing that the
Okay,
town
but-
office said that, because that's not true.
But the main reason why I'm bringing this up too, is if things like this are gonna come up
Yeah.
with this land transfer in the building, then members of the Legion are already looking at going elsewhere.
Yeah, well,
You know,
I mean, the only thing that I have with the transfer of the property is that the building comes down, and that's turned into a parking lot. That's
Right.
the only thing that's the only thing, to me, that has to happen before you can build a building.
Okay, and that's my next concern. We were told that the building has to come down by June of this year.
Yeah, well, whoever's telling you that is blowing smoke again, because I would say that if you're a year from now, a year from this June, if it isn't down, then we gotta talk. Right? So I mean, if it's down, we aren't gonna talk, but the rest of the board will talk.
Yeah.
But if it isn't down by like June of '26, I mean, we're pretty open here to what happens, other than if it falls down. And I don't want it to fall down on anybody either, but we're not in a hurry. I don't believe the board, I mean, yes.
Is there a time period where the Legion expects to demo this building?
We're still in the fundraising part of it, and we realize that what we have right now that we've raised, it's gonna take about everything we've got in our account right now to demo the building. One of the prices that we got is in excess of $150,000 to knock the building down. So,
I mean, we want to be a good neighbor. We want the Legion Hall to be built on that piece of property. And we want to be a good neighbor with the Legion, because the Legion is a service organization that has been here forever, and we want it to continue. And we want to have a nice building and a nice place that the members and the public can enjoy.
And those people that are spreading this information, tell them to come see us.
Yeah, come see me, because it won't be a pleasant experience. Madison Paper dumped up on Nathan Street, Madison Avenue and Nathan Street, it's covered over, and I mean, I don't even think anybody checks that anymore. The corner of Nathan Street and Madison Avenue, I don't think anybody even checks it anymore, but they dumped there,
For years.
80s, 70s?
Oh, yeah.
80s? The truck drove by Madison Avenue and dumped up there, and it was not a big deal. But up on where you're talking, nothing is there. There is nothing there. Yes.
So back in the day, in the early 80s, if I remember correctly, I was working for Merloyd and Sons, and there were 2 buildings on that premises, if I remember right. I know there was one. And that is when the town bought that land off whoever owned it to make those parking lots. There was supply ash that was in there, which is nothing, or some old coal cinders, basically, from the boilers down to the mill. But we did clean up a lot of old debris from the buildings, and it was excavated, and fill was brought in, a lot of fill was brought in, to get that up to grade, to get that paid for a parking lot for the town.
Okay, my last question, and I'll leave it alone. If things don't work out as far as our fundraising goes to build a new building, is it at all feasible that once the existing building is torn down, that a new structure could be built on that site?
It's your property.
Yeah, it's your property.
If you, I mean.
No, but I'm saying we went back, we had the town meeting, and the residents voted for the land swap. Do we have to go back and
We
say,
have to go back and do it the other way.
and go back again if we decide to razz the building and build on that existing
I would
spot?
say.
Yes.
Okay.
But please, any questions you guys have, please take them to Jeff or take them to Denise, the town manager, and ask them right there, because that's, this misinformation is running rampant.
Yeah, well, I've been getting it from 3 of our different leaders at the Legion, so I made a point to say, I'm gonna go to the Selectmen's meeting
All right.
and find out what's going on.
All right, well, thank you for coming, but hopefully we've helped. We want to help.
Okay,
We don't want the Legion not to have a place.
thank you.
All right, any other citizens? Yes?
My name's Kate Drummond, and I am here to represent Somerset Woods trustees again about a different property this time, for the property Weston Woods and Waters Preserve. We don't necessarily have any concerns per se, but we just wanted to introduce ourselves because Somerset Woods has new employees. We now have 2 employees, which is a big deal for us. So I'm on the stewardship committee. I'm the chair of the stewardship committee. So I help to oversee the property maintenance and stewardship for all of our properties, which with 2 employees, it's starting to become a big job. We have a lot of properties. But Weston Woods and Waters is one of our property that we're super proud of. Just for anyone who doesn't know, it's here in Madison. It's ecologically very important. It has a lot of sensitive habitat on it, including shoreline on the Kennebec River, a lot of shoreline on the Kennebec River, as you know, and vernal pools and mature forests. So it's very important ecologically, but also not only does Somerset Woods concern itself with ecological value, but also with public access. So it's very important to us to have public access and to maintain public access for the purposes of public health and recreation. So we are here simply to introduce ourselves, to open lines of communication, because we know that the town of Madison has a lease on that property. So we have now become partners on that property in terms of caring for it and helping to maintain public access. So I just wanted to introduce myself, and then I would like to introduce or have Rachel introduce herself as our stewardship coordinator. So she's really the boots on the ground person who is helping to organize the stewardship work.
I am one of the 2 staff that we have. Yeah, I just wanted to come and introduce myself face to face. My name is Rachel Cheatham-McFadden. I am the stewardship coordinator for Somerset Woods. I come from a background in trail building and maintenance. I do a lot of volunteer events with different communities. So yeah, just wanted to open lines of communication and get to know you all.
Well, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you, nice to meet you.
We'd be happy to answer any questions too, if anyone has any questions.
Questions? Yeah. Kathy's our resident physical education person.
I'm already involved.
No.
Rachel at our Rotary meeting a few weeks ago in Skowhegan.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. She was awesome. She did the Appalachian Trail all by herself.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how long ago it was, 10 years or so.
Almost 10 years ago now, which
She
is
has an
like
awesome
crazy.
presentation that she, just the energy and it's wonderful what you did. That was a great program. You should share that with a lot of people. It's really good.
We wanted to say that we know it's a complicated relationship a little bit to try to work together to figure out, how can we plow, how can we, keep trails and everything open for public access, but we just wanted to say that we're committed to working through any problems that come up, and we hope to build a strong partnership with the town of Madison.
Thank you very much. Thanks, nice to meet you. All right, looking at selectmen's.
Mr. Chair, before you go on, I think Mr. Washburn is here.
Mr. Washburn? We just went through some questions with Linwood, and number one, one of the questions he asked was, do we have a deadline to tear the building down? We do not. We want to work with you to do the best for the American Legion that we can do. And so that is a no on that one. His other question was about drilling holes and things like that. We do not believe there's anything there. Nothing has come from our town office that says that you need to do anything like that at all, to build something. So there's a lot of misinformation with this property. I don't know if somebody's trying to sabotage this thing or not, but we do not want it sabotaged. We want it to go through. And so we're going to work with you to do whatever we need to do to get that to happen. And what was the other one?
We appreciate that too.
What's that?
We appreciate that.
Well, I mean, we're kind of like adversarial here, and I don't want that to happen. I mean, that's not the intention of this move. And the move is to have a nice building that the members of your club your group can go to, plus the public. And when you have something like that, it makes the town better. And, with the idea of the building you have being condemned, it's kind of tough for you to have meetings and places to join together. And I'm sure that it's very tough on you guys right now. And what was the third thing, Lou?
I was just asked that if it was at all possible that once we raised the building came down, if we could actually rebuild on the same site.
As we said, we'd have to probably go back to town meeting, but I don't see it being a problem. And building on the same site would not be a problem either, I don't believe. Once we got it transferred back, we'd have to do that. But we're willing to work. I'm sure the code enforcement person and the town manager are more than willing to help whatever we can do to make it happen. We're not gonna give you any donations, but we'll go to the bean supper. Yeah, but anything else? I mean, anything, and Jeff, I believe, probably is a member of the Legion. And so I would say contact him or contact the town manager and with any questions that you have. Yes, is that pretty reasonable, or?
Yes.
Thank you.
I talked to Denise a month ago to get on the docket for today.
Yep.
And she called me last week and said she didn't have any information to give me, so.
Right, and I mean, if Linwood hadn't been here, we would not have talked about it. But I do believe that she's correct. We're moving in the right direction. Just keep raising that money and trying to get to that point of being able to tear it down and get it moved. And if you don't want that piece of property, we'll switch it back. It's not gonna be a big enough issue.
Whatever works for your
Yes, whatever works.
Legion.
Well, thank you. We're still trying to figure out our options now.
Yep. Anything else? All right. Thank you.
There are no concerns from the people online.
Okay. Mrs. what? Mrs.
I'm all set.
Mrs. Moody? Mr. Bean?
I'm good.
Okay. All right, so just a reminder to the board, the 22nd, I believe it is Wednesday, Yes, sir.
Just so you guys are aware that there's a little display back here of the new flooring that's gonna go down.
Oh, good. Okay, we'll check it out. Just to remind the board members that we have an ambulance meeting on the 22nd, 6 o'clock in Anson. We need 3 people, so if you can let me know if you can make it, I'll send out another email. We need 3 of us to be there, and Sally will be going, so we need 2 more. I'm almost certain I'm gonna be going, but we'll find out. Dooney, can you make it? Mr. Bean? Thank you.
Sean.
What day is it?
22nd.
I think I got a building committee.
No,
Maybe a cemetery committee.
Maybe it's
So,
there.
okay. Looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, motion and second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Yay.
All in favor, the motion carries. We're adjourned at 7:36.